Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. She appeared to be approximately 9 years old, adorned with sizable azure eyes and coils of golden locks cascading around her visage from beneath the ebony cloak draping her shoulders. Clutched in one hand was a besom, commonly known as a broom, while the other grasped a nearly depleted bag for trick-or-treating. Dangling from her neck was a shimmering silver pentagram pendant, accentuated against the backdrop of her dark attire, broadcasting her affiliation with witchcraft to the world. Adorned with various occult and astrological insignias woven into the fabric, the dress conveyed her mystical aura. On this Halloween night, amidst the sea of costumes ranging from ghosts to Powerpuff Girls, fairies to princes, skeletons to the occasional Batman, she blended in effortlessly as yet another little witch traversing from door to door. Joining the chorus of children, she echoed the customary refrain, "Trick or treat." If you had trailed her for a block or two, you'd notice she made only a handful of stops, but not for her own candy stash. At the women's shelter, she left a generous check, ensuring their operations for half a year. A visit to an unemployed single parent's house yielded funds for diapers and groceries, extending her kindness to many others. It was while addressing a particularly abusive husband, trust me, you don't want the details, that she encountered the menacing trio, none of them in costume, save for the Nixon masks. They loitered, intercepting treats collected by others, intimidating smaller passers-by. Typical bullies, mused the young witch, we could definitely do without their kind. Well, would you look at what we've got here, remarked one, lacking in grammar but clearly the ringleader. Ooh, a wicked old witch. I'm so scared. More candy for us, chimed in another. All right, little witch, hand over your bag or else, demanded the largest of the trio. Or else what? She countered, seeing past their facade as if it wasn't even there. Indeed, to some, individuals emanate certain qualities to the world, a radiance of spirit or the darkness of greed, bullying, and a lack of faith. After a moment of reflection, she declared, I see you for who you are and what you've done, but if it's what's in my bag you desire, then it's what you shall have. Shall we take a closer look at this menacing trio? Dylan Martin had been a bully since childhood. Beginning at the tender age of 5, he reveled in destruction and incessantly badgered his unemployed single mother for items she couldn't afford. To quell his ceaseless demands, she often capitulated. Now, at 15, he terrorized the school grounds with physical altercations, profanity, theft from teachers and fellow students, and a blatant disregard for authority. Rumors also circulated that he was peddling alcohol and narcotics to his peers. Justin Wilson was another teen troublemaker. Believed to have killed several neighborhood dogs just for the fun of it, he was headed to jail big time. For now, he was content to pick on little girls, lifting up their skirts or dresses and making crude remarks to the other two. He was a beneficiary of Dylan's illegal sales. The third in this group of civic misfits was Carter Jones. He was, at age 12, the youngest and the biggest, at 5'11". Although shoplifting was his specialty, he liked to beat up smaller boys when he was drunk. Also, he was the muscle, but definitely not the brains, often saying, reading and thinking is for suckers. The little witch turned out her bag of goodies, and handed over the 3 candy bars. One called Baby Yanes went to Carter, the next, Miss Priss went to Justin, and the last, Windows Dressing went to Dylan. Oh, gosh, I'm truly sorry, this is all I have, the young witch apologized. But I believe you'll enjoy those candies, they're reputed to be quite tasty. Dylan hesitated, as though considering striking the girl, but ultimately opted to push her aside dismissively, now that she had relinquished her meager possessions. The others jostled her briefly before forcing her to the ground and clearing their path. She observed the trio as they strolled down the street, indulging in their pilfered treats. A subtle smile graced her lips as she contemplated her next destination, disregarding the group's significance, for there were other obligations to fulfill. Ryan Smith witnessed the encounter unfold and would have intervened if necessary. Despite the animosity between him and the group, he couldn't stand idly by while a young girl faced mistreatment on such a pleasant evening. Why, he pondered, must there always be those intent on spoiling things? She had done nothing to provoke them, so why were they bothering her? He trailed behind the little witch as she continued her rounds. Aware of his presence, her perception heightened through meditation, she sensed he posed no threat and allowed him to approach. "Hello, Ryan," the young witch greeted cheerfully, a smile evident in her voice. Hi. How did you know my name?" he inquired, brimming with curiosity. She let out a soft giggle, smiled, then explained matter-of-factly, "I've spotted you at school, and a friend mentioned your name." Since he wasn't dressed in costume, he couldn't help but smirk at the simplicity of her explanation. "Ah," he replied, his grin widening. "And, if you don't mind my asking, why no costume for you?" she inquired as they strolled down the street adorned with pumpkin and corn husk decorations, streetlights adorned with black and orange streamers, and houses illuminated with inviting porch lights, while children hurried to secure their final treats from weary door attendants. "Oh, my little sister is out trick-or-treating with her friends, and I just felt like I'd be in the way, so I opted for a walk instead." "Do you not enjoy your sister's company?" she probed further. "Oh, it's not that. They're all girls, and, well, I'm a boy. I'd feel out of place, you know, like a fifth wheel," Ryan replied with a weary laugh. Detecting a hint of melancholy in his voice, his head slightly bowed, fighting back emotions that a boy his age shouldn't be displaying, the young witch spoke gently, "You care a great deal for your sister, don't you?" It wasn't so much a question as it was a statement she hoped he would affirm. Yes, I love her and her friends, it's just one boy surrounded by girls, brr. Just think of the teasing you'd endure from other boys, look at that sissy, hanging around girls. But all the while, they'd secretly envy you. Ever considered that?" "Not really. Wait a moment, we need to stop at this house," she announced, ascending a path lined with comic tombstones. On the porch, a scarecrow occupied a chair, while an anatomically accurate skeleton dangled from a hook to its left. Some windows boasted toothy pumpkins, while others framed silhouettes of black cats. Adorning the door was a vintage witch figure riding a broomstick. Observing as she rang the doorbell, Ryan listened as the young woman who answered received only a treat from the young witch. She handed over an envelope and swiftly retreated before the woman could respond. "What was that about?" Ryan inquired curiously as she rejoined him. "Oh, she cares for some children without seeking any payment. She's lonely and deserves a caring man. I just nudged fate a bit," the young witch explained. As they neared Ryan's house, the young witch posed a question. "Your sister's hosting a party tomorrow for her girlfriends only, would you like to attend?" "I suppose so, I do like all of them," he responded hastily, unaware of her intentions. "Excellent. Once you commit, there's no turning back," she warned. "Again, I ask, in the name of the goddess, do you want to go to her party?" "I do, but..." She furrowed her brow slightly before speaking. "For the third and final time, do you desire to grow closer to your sister, to embrace her friends as your own, to share in her joys and be more integrated into her life? It begins with this party, but it transcends beyond into eternity. This must be your choice. For the third time, do you wish to attend her party?" It was the sense of finality that struck him, the mention of not even in death. So he inquired, "Even in death, what do you mean by that?" "In my belief, each life is a journey of learning, and upon death, we find rest. After a period, we are reborn, carrying fragments of our former selves into new incarnations," she explained softly. "Oh," Ryan murmured. Recollecting his involvement in every stage of his sister's life, from changing her diapers to assisting with school projects, he made his decision. "Yes, I do, please, no more questions." The young woman smiled gently, then handed him some chocolate bars. "There's a splendid full moon tonight. Take one for yourself, one for your sister, and one for your mother. Let them all savor the bounty of Mother Earth. The rest are for your sister's friends. Blessed be," she uttered as she departed. Ryan observed as she vanished into the nearby wooded area known as Bishop's Seat Woods due to its peculiar rock formation at the center. Wondering how those chocolate bars could foster a closer bond with his sister, he shrugged and proceeded up the decorated path to his house, examining the peculiar Love Me bar. Upon entering, his first words were, "Hey Mom, guess what I encountered?" The young witch ventured into the moonlit forest, arriving at a small clearing adorned with a ring of stones, within which lay a crudely drawn pentagram. With her athame in hand, she carefully cut an entrance and proceeded to the center to perform her sacred ritual. "Apologies, this is a confidential rite, I cannot divulge details." Kneeling, she offered her prayer, "Most gracious goddess, grant me peace and absolution for my actions this night. In your name, I beseech that all whom I have touched find the love and joy they seek, that those deserving of retribution learn the necessary lessons, and that my deeds cause no harm now or in the days to come. Blessed be." A young witch entered the woods, but a grown man emerged. Mr. Richard Baker, the principal of John Adams Middle School, was well versed in the potential consequences and would vigilantly monitor the lives of those visited by the young witch. He glanced at his pentagram, a smile gracing his lips as he pocketed it, then strolled leisurely back to his home, whistling Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries. Back at home, Ryan handed a chocolate bar to his sister and the other to his mother. As they savored the sweet treats, they delighted in hearing about Batgirl's adventures, accompanied by a comforting cup of warm milk, concluding a joyous and fulfilling day. Meanwhile, at a distance, the trio dispersed, each heading towards their own homes, anticipating a night's rest that would herald numerous changes that would reverberate through many lives. Ryan awoke around 8 a.m., stretching before abruptly realizing he was clad in a girl's nightgown. "How did? Good morning, sweetie," his mother greeted from the doorway. "How are you this fine day?" "Mom, Before he could finish, a flurry of motion burst into the room, leaping onto the bed and enveloping him in a hug. "Oh Ryanie, we're going to have so much fun together. We have a beautiful princess costume, and I can't wait to see you in it." Gradually, the memories flooded back. The conversation about feeling left out, the closeness he shared with his sister, and the agreement he would don the princess attire for the party, perhaps even on a few more occasions thereafter. Later, after the party, Ryan sat, running his fingers over the soft satins, nylons, and laces of the costume, wishing fervently that the day would never end and, in a peculiar way, it never truly did. At the age of 20, Ryan confides everything to his soon-to-be wife, only to be pleasantly surprised by her willingness to embrace Anne, his femme persona, whenever he desires. Developing a keen sense of fashion, he becomes an esteemed designer of women's nightgowns and loungewear, with his wife's sister serving as his favorite model. Dylan Martin attempted to stretch but found himself unable to move a muscle, except, of course, he had no muscles to stretch. Through a large window, he glimpsed the rising October sun. But, where on earth was he? "All right, Susie, time to prepare you for winter," a voice called out from behind. A man approached and began to disrobe the Halloween costume adorning the mannequin. "Susie, this week you'll be sporting pantyhose, snow boots, a simple black dress, and a lovely faux fur coat to keep you cozy and warm. How does that sound, sweetie?" he asked, clearly relishing the process of dressing and undressing his favorite window display mannequin. Several years later, a homeless beggar would recount to anyone who would listen his experiences as window dressing for various department stores, specialty shops, and even mall stores, recalling the months he spent clad only in bra and panties. Carter Jones stirred from sleep, emitting a hearty squeal what as he flailed his little arms in every direction and kicked about, sensing the discomfort of a wet diaper. The usual acidic content of urine was irritating his delicate skin. As an infant, his sole concern was ridding himself of this nuisance. "I'm coming, sweetie. Mommy's bringing you a bottle." Gazing up at the smiling dark-haired woman, Carter began to gurgle and coo, just as any baby would upon seeing their mother. Promptly, she checked beneath him and remarked, "You need a change, sweetie. Mommy will swap that nasty old diaper for you in a moment, Olivia." True to her word, Carter, now Olivia, would be raised in a world of love and compassion, rather than abuse and neglect. At the age of 19, Olivia Thomas enrolled in a prestigious Ivy League school to pursue a law degree, graduating with distinction. She would focus her efforts on issues of spousal abuse and gender equality, while also becoming a Wiccan high priestess. In the morning, Justin Wilson descended the stairs to confront an irate mother and father. Seating himself at the table, he casually turned a chair around and demanded, "Yo ma, where's my breakfast? Enough with your antics, young man. You're a disgrace to both me and your father." Casting a sidelong glance at his father, he retorted, "Hey Pop, you gonna let that woman get away with that?" His father rose from his seat, circled the table, and seized Justin, hauling him to his feet. "You utter that word again, and you'll find yourself airborne through a window, whether it's deemed child abuse or not. I won't tolerate you speaking to your mother, or any woman, in such a manner again. Do you understand, punk?" Terrified, Justin could only stammer, "Yes sir, I understand." "Good. Lauren, I believe he's ready for the next step. I'll leave it to you," his father concluded. Lauren Wilson offered a crooked smile as she replied, "Mikey, ever heard of petticoating?" Within 30 minutes, he underwent a transformation, bathed, powdered, perfumed, and adorned in silks, satins, laces, and delicate bows. Over time, he would learn the art of the curtsy, gracefully accepting compliments like "Oh my, what a pretty, girl," and mastering the application and removal of makeup. For the next 5 years or more, boys would lift his skirts and petticoats, a daily requirement enforced by his mother, and he would ride as Princess something or other in either the school's homecoming parade or the Founders' Day celebration parade. No longer the one flipping up girls' skirts, he became intimately familiar with frilly undergarments. Eventually, a valuable lesson was learned. At the age of 25, Justin obtained his GED and moved forward, securing a job in advertising, where he wrote copy for Women's Wear Daily. He later yielded to a dominant woman in sales. When seeking an update, inquiries were met with, "He's occupied at the moment, I'll have him return your call." And finally, the last entry on this list, Mr. Richard Baker, Teacher of the Year for 3 consecutive years, Principal of the Year twice, and father to 3 delightful and accomplished daughters, all poised to make significant contributions to the world. A witch extraordinaire? No. Just someone seeking to illuminate the right path for others to follow. So, if you happen upon a young witch with radiant blonde hair and sparkling blue eyes, carrying a besom, extend a blessed be on my behalf, and never attempt to take any of her candy, lest you end up like me, a computer program relegated to crafting stories for TV and CD tale.